Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And in today's video, we are going to look at substitution, especially when it comes to systems of equations. So, I always like to start off with an example, kind of a callback, because this actually is a little bit of a callback to the type of lessons we were doing up until now. So, you can see in this example that you have x is equal to 5. And of course, y is equal to 2x minus 3. And I'm telling you here, solve for y. So, how would I do this? Well, I'm telling you here that x is equal to 5. So your first thing you should do is sub x is equal to 5 into y is equal to 2x minus 3. So basically, where you see the x, this now becomes 5. Okay, so 2 times 5 is 10, minus 3 is equal to 7. So your second step, obviously, here is to solve. Okay? Now, that's basically as easy as it can get. It's a relationship to the stuff we did before, and we are still in our comfort zone, because you can see here that it's very straightforward. We found our variable very easily because it was by itself. But what would we do indeed if we had two equations where we had multiple variables in each? And that's what we're going to see. Okay, so you can see in this question here, we are telling you to solve for the unknown. So in this question here, what's our unknowns? Well, we don't know what x is, we don't know what y is. Okay, so how would I do this question? You'll notice here that it's different. I don't just have here x is equal to 5, so I don't have a number here. What I do have, though, is this. I have the y by itself, and I'm telling you y is equal to 3x minus 7. Sure, it's not me telling you y is equal to 5, but I am telling you y is equal to something. So our first step still remains the same. You want to sub y is equal to 3x minus 7 into 2x minus 3y is equal to 7. Okay, so let's do that. So 2x minus 3, going to put in brackets here, 3x minus 7 is equal to 7. Okay, so at this point, you're going to expand, Pokemon Go. Now, a little common mistake is I see that people do 2x minus 3 first. Well, you can't even do that to begin with. But remember, BEDMAS, you want to do the brackets first. So, catch them all. So you got 2x minus 9x minus times minus gives me a plus 21 is equal to 7. Let's start collecting our like terms. I've got 2 mangoes. You've got 9 mangoes, and you're taking them away. So what do I have left? I've got 7 mangoes. Well, negative 7 mangoes. And I'm going to choose to move the 21 to the other side, so I can have my variable by itself, which is going to give me 7 minus 21. Okay, 7 minus 21 is going to give me minus 14. So x is 2. So I have my x. Then you can just take that and plug it into either equation. I would plug it into this one because it's easier. So y is equal to 3 times 2 minus 7, 6 minus 7, which is negative 1. So those are my 2 variables. Okay? So we still haven't developed our actual full steps yet. I want to take a look at one more example that's now a little bit more stepped up and difficult. And from there, we're going to be developing our steps. And then I'm going to give you 4 examples that you're going to pause and try yourselves. Okay, so you can see in this example, it's not as straightforward as the other ones, as I keep saying in every single example. So every example keeps getting stepped up, stepped up. So in the other 2 examples, you always had one of your variables by itself already. So that gives you a little bit of a hint there of what your first step should be. Your first step should be to isolate one of your variables. Okay, so you can use either equation for this. I'm choosing to use the second one, mainly because if you take a look at it, it already has one that's already going to be by itself and easier to separate. Okay, so taking my second one here, I'm going to go x minus 5y is equal to 6. So I'm going to add 5y to both sides because I'm choosing to isolate this x, which should give me x is equal to 6 plus 5y. So my x is isolated. What did we do in the other 2 cases? Or in pretty much every single lesson we've done up until now? The other thing we did was we substituted the isolated variable into the other equation. Okay, so I would not take this x and plug it back in here. That wouldn't really get you anywhere. You want to plug it back into your second equation, the one that you didn't isolate from. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to be subbing this in, so I'm going to have 3, and now in brackets, because there's an x there, I'm going to change that into 6 plus 5y. Notice I'm using the same color. Okay, plus 2y is equal to 1. So now, once again, Pokemon Go, gotta catch them all. Okay, so 3 times 6, you've got 18. Plus 3 times 5, you got 15y plus 2y is equal to 1. And what do you notice happened here when we did this? There is no x here. It's only one variable. And if it's only one variable, it's like a linear equation like all the other ones we used to solve. So we follow the same steps we did before, which is basically isolate now for the other variable. Okay, so we want to get y by itself. Obviously, first and foremost, to do that, you need to collect your like terms. So I got 15 mangoes plus 2 mangoes. That's going to give me 17 mangoes. I'm going to move this 18 to the other side. Okay, which is going to give me 1 minus 18, which is negative 17. So y, I'm going to have to divide both sides by 17, will give me negative 1. Okay. And finally, we have our y. We need to solve for our x. So our last step will be to substitute the solved variable into either equation. What do I mean by other equation? I mean you can substitute it here, you can substitute it here, or you can substitute it in this thing that you made here. Either one should give you the correct solution. So let's do that. So I'm going to be subbing it in. I'm going to sub it into this one actually. So I've got here x is equal to 6 plus 5, and now I know y is -1. So x is equal to 6. Now, and then again, a common mistake. I see people like to basically do 6 plus 5 first. You don't do that. You do 5 times -1 first, giving you -5, which will then give you 1. Okay? And those steps should work every single time. All right? So remember, you're always touching the untouched equation, the other equation. Okay? So now I'm going to give you guys some examples I want you guys to work on. I'm going to solve it myself here as well, but I want you to pause them and then check your answers. Okay, so and these are your examples here. I did say I was going to give you 4, but let's go with 3 for right now. Let's go with that. So I want you to try these ones yourself, so pause the video and try it yourself first. Okay, I'm assuming everyone's back now. Great. All right, so let's try these out. So this is what you should have gotten here. So obviously your first step here would be, let's follow our steps, isolate one of our variables. I'm going to choose to use this equation. So I'm going to have x minus y is equal to -1. So I'm going to isolate for the x. You can also isolate for the y, doesn't matter. Either one's fine. And then I'm going to plug this x into this x. So -1 plus y is equal to 5. So -1 plus an apple gives me 2 apples. 5, so 2y is 6, y is 3. Okay, so we're going to plug this y into, well, either one, or you can plug it here. So x is equal to -1 plus 3, so x is equal to 2. Alright, so let's take a look at the second one. So you can use either one. I'm going to choose to use this one, but it's perfectly fine whichever one you choose. And I'm going to choose to isolate from my y. Remember, you always want to try to isolate for the one that takes you the least amount of time. So y should be 5 plus 2x. Okay, so that's one variable. Put it into the other one, so you got 6x minus 3 times 5 plus 2x is equal to -9. Pokemon Go this. Gotta catch them all. So 6x minus 15 minus 6x. Remember, this minus travels along with it. It's equal to -9. So what do we notice here? Well, I have positive 6x minus 6x. So I have 6 bananas, and you're taking away 6 bananas from me. So what do I have left? Well, I should have 0 bananas left, which ends up giving me -15 is equal to -9. Hold up here. Wait a second. Where's the variables? Where is the variables? I don't know. There is no variables. And because you can't solve a variable from here, you can say this has no solution. Sorry, I was being a little bit devious there. Yes, it was a trick question. Alright, so last up, you're going to go here and you can isolate either one. I'm going to choose to, let's go with this one. I'm going to isolate here. Okay, so I'm going to have -2x plus 4y is equal to 12. I'll move the 2x to the other side and move the 12 to this side, so I'll get 4y minus 12 is equal to positive 2x. Divide everything by 2, so x should be 2y minus 6. Okay, plug it into the other one. So 5, 2y minus 6 minus 6y is equal to negative 14. Catch them all. Pick it. So you're going to have 10y minus 30 minus 6y is equal to negative 14. Let's do multiple steps here at the same time. So 10 mangoes minus 6 mangoes are going to give me 4 mangoes. I'll move this negative 30 to the other side. So that's going to give me negative 14 plus 30. So I'm going to have 4y is equal to 16. So y is 4. Kind of running out of space here, so let's do this here. So take that y is equal to 4, plug it into anywhere. I'll plug it into this one. So I have x is equal to 2 times 4 minus 6. So x is 8 minus 6, so x is 2. And that is substitution when involved in multiple variables. I hope that this lesson has been informative, and I hope you understood everything. Have a good day.